the political showdown over the new Supreme Court nominee today shifts to the Senate. President Obama's choice, Merrick Garland, will go to Capitol Hill this afternoon to meet with Democratic senators.
Republicans are standing by their vow not to consider Garland or any nominee before the November election. The 63-year-old federal appellate judge wants to be the 113th justice to serve on the nation's highest court. We're covering the fight from the White House to the Supreme Court, and we'll talk to Democratic Senator Elizabeth Warren and Republican Senator Jeff Flake. But we're going to start with Margaret Brennan, who is at the White House. Margaret, good morning.
Good morning. Well, this was a calculated decision by President Obama to pick a nominee that would be hard for Republicans to shoot down. And today, Merrick Garland goes to personally lobby on Capitol Hill and make the case that he's a political moderate who can break that partisan divide.
We'll not be voting on this nominee. The next president's going to make the decision.
Last night, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell said it would be a waste of time to meet nominee Merrick Garland and insisted that Congress must wait until Americans elect a new president.
If this was a Republican president submitting a nominee to a Democratic Senate in the middle of a presidential election year, there are no circumstances under which the nominee would be confirmed.
I have fulfilled my constitutional duty.
On Wednesday, the president said Senate Republicans are obligated to consider Garland's nomination.
I simply ask Republicans in the Senate to give him a fair hearing. If you don't, it will indicate a process for nominating and confirming judges that is beyond repair.
Polling shows that more than half of Americans disapprove of the Senate Republicans' refusal to consider a nominee. But Republican leaders say their argument stems from then-Senator Joe Biden's own rule back in 1992.
Action on a Supreme Court nomination must be put off until after the election campaign is over.
But the vice president defended himself last night, tweeting, "There's only one Biden rule I followed while in the Senate. Every SCOTUS nominee gets a hearing, committee vote, and floor vote, period." President Obama singled out Republican Senator Orrin Hatch, who backed Garland's 1997 nomination to the D.C. Circuit Court.
Mr. Garland is a fine nominee. I know him personally. I know of his integrity.
And in 2010, when President Obama picked Justice Elena Kagan, Hatch said he preferred Garland and called him a consensus nominee with no question he'd be confirmed. Hatch said yesterday that times have changed.
There's a whale of a difference between being on any circuit court of appeals and being a nominee for the Supreme Court of the United States.
Well, today, President Obama will join a conference call with progressive groups to build support for Merrick. The bet is that putting pressure on senators may change some minds. Gail?
All right, Margaret, thank you very much.